Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
I had a couple of pharmacies in Manhattan, and I had a very interesting clientele. A lot of very interesting, intelligent people. And one day this reporter came in who I had met very recently. She was visiting New York working on several stories for newspapers in Japan and China. And she was really interesting. I mean, she was full of life. And she came running into my pharmacy early in the morning. It was my pharmacy up on 72nd Street and 3rd Avenue. And she said, "Jerry, I'm really worried. Last night, my urine had this very funky smell." And I go, "Did you eat asparagus?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, that's the issue." She never had asparagus before. I had a similar scare once. My wife spent a lot of time in Austria and Germany and Russia speaking languages, translating, and also teaching English. And she loved beets. I never had beets in my life. It's not something you normally eat in Ireland. So one night I had beets with her, and my urine turned red. I got really scared. And I ran down and I said, "Do beets turn your urine red?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, thank goodness." In fact, lately I had a lady come in and said, "My urine's yellow." And I said, "Well, did you start taking a B complex?" And she says, "Yeah." I go, "Well, vitamin B12 is a pinkish color, and riboflavin, vitamin B2, is a yellow color. That can affect the color of your urine. It'll be temporary. Eventually your body will accommodate to the B vitamins and you'll use them more efficiently, but at first you're going to get kind of yellow, brighter yellow urine. Nothing to be concerned about. Nothing at all. So your urine color can change rapidly, and most of the time it's temporary and it doesn't mean anything, but sometimes it really does. Because there are thousands of things washed away in your urine, and some of them affect the color. Now, if the color does change and it's related to a condition, the color is not very specific. It just gives the doctor an idea what to look at. The doctor also has to do blood tests and, of course, a urine test, and the doctor has to consider symptoms, and there may be other things to look into. So urine color varies according to how much fluid you drink. I happen to drink a lot of green tea and a lot of water, and sometimes I'm overhydrated, so my urine is very clear. I literally should cut back on some fluid. But if it gets a deeper yellow, then you're dehydrated. You're dehydrated. You need to drink more fluid. So what gives your urine this yellow color? Urobilin. The yellow color is from urobilin. It's a breakdown product of heme. Heme is what makes hemoglobin that carries oxygen around the body, and also myoglobin, which carries oxygen into your muscles, and certain antioxidants like catalases. Urobilin is a breakdown product of heme, and it's excreted in the urine, and it gives the urine that yellow color. So your urine should be in some range of yellow, of the color family. So welcome to my episode, Urine Color and Health. My name is Jerry Hickey. I'm a nutritional pharmacist. I'm also the senior scientific officer over here at Invite Health. And over the course of this episode, I will discuss different things that can affect the color of your urine. And also near the end, I'm going to talk about things that are really good for your kidneys. So thanks for tuning into the Invite Health podcast today. You can find all of our episodes for free any place you listen to podcasts, or just visit invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Invite Health. The information on this episode is linked at the episode description, so let's get going. I have a lot to say. I made notes, so that's me turning the page because there's a lot to say and I don't want to forget anything. So clear urine is too much water, and you probably should cut back a little bit. Too little water and it becomes darker yellow, like honey. What is urine anyway? Well, you're filtering things out of the blood, and it lets you know what's going on inside your body. So it's mostly water, but it's also waste products like from muscle catabolism. It's also excess salt and other electrolytes and toxins. Your kidneys, like your liver, is a major organ of detoxification of chemicals and toxins, etc. Now, why does the urine turn dark if you're not drinking enough water, enough fluid? Because your body needs all the water it can get, and it'll suck the water back into your body through the kidneys. And the concentrated electrolytes and urobilin make it look darker yellow. So drink more water. I mean, that's pretty simple. So once again, just to clarify, most of the time your urine color changes temporarily and it's harmless. But sometimes it's a sign of bad things. It's a harbinger. So what about if your urine is a dark brown color like a cola? A dark brown color like a cola. It could be food. I mean, fava beans. The Italians love fava beans. That can make your urine a dark brown color. Rhubarb, if you ate rhubarb. And of course, rhubarb is toxic. It has to be cooked. Aloe vera. Don't do a lot of aloe vera unless they remove the alloanthraquinones, because these could be toxic. So if they remove the alloanthraquinones, it's okay to have the aloe vera. But if you do really excessive exercise, muscle breaks down, and this can affect the color of the urine. Severe dehydration, now that's a problem. When you're severely dehydrated, you make your kidneys work excessively, and this can lead to kidney damage. So it's not a good thing. But it could also be the liver, like extra bilirubin. It doesn't tell you what's going on with the liver. It just indicates that something is going on with the liver. But there's a lot of drugs that can affect the color of your urine and make it into a dark brown, kind of like cola, like chloroquine and primaquine. Those are used for autoimmune diseases, but they're also used for malaria. Metronidazole and nitrofurantoin. Those are antibiotics, like nitrofurantoin is used for urinary tract infections. Metronidazole is used for many different types of infections. Laxatives can actually discolor your urine. I know laxatives make you poop, right? Who would think? But Cascara Sagrada, it's sold in health food stores. Senna is sold in pharmacies and health food stores. They can discolor the urine a darker brown. A muscle relaxant, like if you've really hurt your back, the doctor prescribes methocarbamol. Be careful with that because it makes you really sleepy, so don't drive your car while you're on it. But it's a skeletal muscle relaxer. It can really help if you have a severe lower backache caused by muscles. But you know what? You're better off taking some Advil or rubbing on some Bengay or something. Or, you know what? CBD. Rub on some CBD. That's really safe. Unfortunately, if you get dark brown urine, it could be a sign that you have melanoma and the melanoma is getting worse. But once again, it's not just one time where the urine is darker. Or it could be a sign of pancreatic cancer. But there's other symptoms along with that. Now, what about if the urine is pink or red? Well, that could be blood in the urine. So like a urinary tract infection, kidney stones. But you should see some pain along with that. Like if you have a urinary tract infection, there should be burning. You might get lower back pain. With kidney stones, you'll know about it. So, but if you get blood in the urine without pain, that's scary. The doctor has to look at your bladder. Now, there are foods that can make your urine pink or red. I said before I had that problem with beets. It wasn't a problem, but it scared the pants off of me. But also rhubarb or even blackberries. They can color your urine pink or red. But a lot of drugs, some laxatives, some chemotherapy drugs, isoniazid. Isoniazid is used for tuberculosis. Warfarin, which is a blood thinner. Ibuprofen can affect the blood color a little bit. The antibiotic rifampin, that can lead to red urines. So can phenazopyridine. Phenazopyridine is used in urinary tract infections. It stops burning in the urinary tract. But I mean, here it is used for urinary tract infections, and it's discoloring your urine. They should tell you about that. But but also sulfasalazine. Sulfasalazine is used for rheumatoid arthritis, but it's mostly used for colitis. Doesn't work that well. Now, what about if your urine is green or blue? I mean, green could just be asparagus. When you eat asparagus, not only does it create that odor that a lot of people could detect, but it can also make the urine a slight shade of green, a slight tint of green. But a lot of times if the urine turns blue or green and it's really vivid, it's a dye, like a dye in candy or something you ate. But infections can affect your urine color and turn it greenish, like Pseudomonas, which is a nasty bacterium, or a yeast infection. But that green color should be accompanied by some pain, some burning, an unpleasant odor. There's a lot of drugs that can make your urine blue or green. Cimetidine, you use cimetidine for ulcers and GERD and things like that, and digestive tract issues. Amitriptyline, which is a tricyclic antidepressant drug. Indomethacin, which is a drug used for inflammation and pain like arthritis, but that drug has a lot of bad effects on your cardiovascular system. Anesthetics like propofol can affect the color of your urine. Sonata, people take it for sleep. It can make the urine greenish, and so can Reglan. Reglan's used for nausea. Now, what about orange or dark orange urine? Well, that could be the bile ducts, for the gallbladder and liver. So if it's orange and your stool is pale and your skin is becoming maybe itchy and yellowish and your eyes are getting a little yellowish, you have to see a doctor right away because it could be the liver or gallbladder. It's probably the liver or gallbladder. Now, what about cloudy urine? Well, that's usually a urinary tract infection or kidney stones. You should have it looked at. What about foam in the urine? Well, foam's in the urine once or twice. That's something you ate. But if you're getting foam all the time, especially if you have an autoimmune disease, like lupus that can attack the kidneys, or if you have diabetes that's out of control, that foam could be the filters in the urine not working properly, and protein is leaking into the urine. And the protein reacts with the air, with the oxygen, and that creates a foam. So if you're seeing a lot of foam in the urine consistently, that's a sign that there's a kidney problem. Now, what's good for the kidneys? Well, enough water. If you have too little water, the kidneys have to work really hard. This could cause kidney failure. I suspect that's what happened to Jack London. Jack London was one of my most favorite authors of all times. And Jack London worked really hard. He wouldn't stop writing every day unless he wrote 1,000 words. And he came from over by Sonoma, California. That's where he lived. And he did a lot of sailing in the Pacific. And I think what happened, because he died very young. He died in his 40s, I believe. I don't think the 50s. I think his 40s from kidney failure. I bet you in all those sailing adventures, he wasn't drinking enough water, and that probably destroyed his kidneys. But if you can get a hold of Jack London's early works, where he's writing stories about Hawaii, they're amazing. They're amazing. But let's get back to this. Grapeseed extract is great for the kidneys. There were studies in older women, postmenopausal, that if they were put on grapeseed extract, they never lost any kidney function. And there's a study or two on people with reduced kidney function. They're starting to develop kidney disease. Their estimated glomerular filtration rate, the amount of ability of the kidneys to remove toxins, had declined. And when they gave them when they gave them grapeseed extract, we'll get to carnosine in a second, when they gave them grapeseed extract, it was fantastic. It reduced inflammation in their body. It restored their antioxidant levels, which of course helps protect and preserve the health of the eyes and the brain and the heart and all your other organs and systems. It was helping with anemia. See, if you have kidney damage, you don't release a hormone called erythropoietin, which triggers your bone marrow to create red blood cells. So when you have kidney disease, you could become anemic. And the grapeseed extract was helping the anemia. And the grapeseed extract was restoring the glomerular filtration rate, the ability of not only to urinate, but to get rid of toxins in the urine. So grapeseed extract is one thing that's great for the kidneys. Carnosine is another. Carnosine is amazing. You make carnosine in the body. It's a dipeptide. You make it out of beta-alanine and histidine, 2 amino acids. Beta-alanine is the only beta amino acid the body uses. All the rest are alpha amino acids. In any event, carnosine Helps protect the brain from oxygen utilization and energy production. Carnosine helps defend the little blood vessels in the brain. We can all wind up with a little bit of microvascular damage by the time we're 70 years old in the brain. You know, our brain is globally permeated with all these little blood vessels called capillaries. Well, the carnosine helps shield them from damage. Carnosine helps protect the eyes, especially the crystalline lens in the front of the eye. Carnosine is important for your muscles. It allows the muscles to use energy. But this is interesting. When you're exercising, if the muscles are not getting enough oxygen, which happens when you do like really intense exercise, you build up an acid called lactic acid as an alternate source of fuel for your muscles. The problem is too much lactic acid causes the muscles to seize. Carnosine clears the lactic acid out of your muscles. If you take carnosine before some kind of event like a marathon, you'll do better. But carnosine is also really great for the kidneys. I read a series of studies in Native Americans, African Americans, Japanese Americans, etc. The people with diabetes who develop kidney damage, because it's not universal in all diabetics that they develop kidney damage, even though kidney damage is common in diabetes. The people with diabetes who often develop kidney damage have an inability to use carnosine efficiently. So when I get a diabetic in here who's starting to get foam in the urine and they're starting to have a problem with their kidneys, I immediately put them on carnosine. I put them on carnosine, I put them on grapeseed because that does a whole host of things for diabetics. And I also put them on ubiquinol. Ubiquinol is the active form of coenzyme Q10, and in studies of people with reduced kidney function, when they raised their ubiquinol levels in their blood, the kidneys started to work a little bit better. So I give them ubiquinol because it helps the kidneys function. It takes a little pressure off the kidneys, just like it does with your muscles and your heart. So that's the deal. Grapeseed extract, carnosine, which is a dipeptide, and ubiquinol. All three of those supplements are really safe. So Jerry Hickey signing off. Thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast today. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Invite Health. I hope to see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.